The sun had just started bleeding into the desert horizon when Cole Tanner rode into the Apache settlement. He'd been trailing dust for 3 days straight, every muscle aching, and his horse was dying underneath him. The poor beast's breath came in ragged bursts, its ribs showing through hide. Cole wasn't much better off. A worn saddlebag, a Colt with 1 bullet left and 12 crumpled dollars. That's all he had left in this world. The chief's men met him at the edge of the camp, silent and wary, spears in hand, eyes sharp as glass. Cole dismounted slow, raised both hands to show peace. "Ain't here for trouble," he said, voice rough from the trail. "Just need a horse. Got $12 to my name. It'll have to do." They didn't answer, only led him through the maze of tents toward a great fire burning at the center. The Apache chief sat cross-legged by the flames, his hair streaked with gray, his eyes calm as deep water. The whole camp watched in stillness as Cole stepped forward and laid his last $12 on the dirt. "For a horse," he said quietly. "A strong one if you've got it." The chief stared long at the cowboy. "You have the look of a man who's lost more than money," he said. Cole gave a dry half-smile. "Ain't we all?" The old man's eyes narrowed, unreadable. He nodded to one of his men, who took the money and vanished into the shadows. Then the chief rose slowly, pointing to the dark edge of the camp. "Wait there. The desert gives what a man earns, not what he asks for." Cole stepped back uneasy. He didn't understand the words, but he'd learned to respect them. He waited under the open stars as the fire crackled behind him. Minutes turned to an hour. The desert wind whispered low through the brush. Then he heard it, soft footsteps behind him. He turned, expecting to see a horse being led out. But instead 2 figures emerged from the darkness. Both women. The first was tall, proud, her black hair braided with silver beads, eyes fierce as a hawk's. The second was younger, gentler, her face half hidden behind a curtain of hair, eyes wide with fear and curiosity. Both wore simple deerskin dresses and both stopped a few paces from him, silent. Cole frowned, confused. "I think there's been a mistake," he said. "I came for a horse." From behind, the chief's voice echoed across the fire. "The horse you seek is not the one that will carry you, cowboy. My daughters will go with you instead." Cole turned sharply. "What in hell are you talking about?" The chief stood tall, his shadow stretching across the sand. "They are payment for the promise you have not yet made. You saved one of my sons last winter when the soldiers came. I owe a debt. You asked for a horse. I give you guides and protection. They know the road you are meant to walk." Cole stared, speechless. "I didn't do it for payment. Don't want none now." The elder daughter stepped forward, eyes cold, voice firm. "What's done is done. Our father's word binds us." She pointed toward the distant horizon. "We leave when the moon rises. You will not survive the northern trail without us." The younger one finally spoke, her voice like wind over water. "You saved our brother, so now we save you." Cole didn't know what to say. He'd come looking for a beast with 4 legs, not 2 women carrying a destiny he hadn't asked for. But when he looked into their eyes, something deep and ancient stirred, a feeling that he'd stepped into a story far older than his own name. He tried one last time. "You don't owe me anything. Tell your father I'll find another way." The older sister shook her head. "There is no other way, white man. When the desert chooses, there is no going back." The wind picked up, carrying embers from the campfire out into the night. The old chief turned and walked away without another word. Cole stood there, the 2 women watching him in silence. Somewhere out in the dark, a coyote cried, long and low. Cole sighed, pulled his hat down against the wind and muttered, "Guess I ain't riding alone after all." The younger sister smiled faintly, her eyes catching the last of the firelight. "No, cowboy," she said softly. "You never were." And as the moon climbed above the desert, the 3 of them walked into the vast open land together, where fate waited, quiet and unseen under the endless western stars. The moon rode high, silver and cold, when Cole Tanner led the way out of the Apache camp. The 2 daughters followed close behind, their shadows long and silent across the sand. The desert night wrapped around them like an old secret. No words were spoken for a long time. Only the crunch of boots and the soft rhythm of moccasins filled the air. Cole didn't trust the quiet. He was a man of cattle, fences, and dust, not omens and spirits. Every time he glanced back, the older sister's eyes met his with a look that said she was watching more than the trail. The younger one kept her gaze down, humming softly under her breath, like she was singing to the wind itself. After miles of silence, Cole finally muttered, "What's your names, anyhow?" The elder answered first. "Tala," she said, her tone proud and cool. "It means wolf." The younger smiled shyly. "Mine's Ayana. It means eternal blossom." Cole nodded. "Fittin' names." He kicked a pebble uneasy. "Still don't understand why your pa sent you instead of a horse." Tala's lips twitched, almost a smirk. "Maybe he saw you'd ride yourself to death on the next one. Maybe he thought 2 feet with wisdom are worth more than 4 with fear." Cole frowned. "That sound like poetry or mockery?" "Both," she said, walking past him. They made camp by a dry riverbed just before dawn. Cole gathered sticks, Ayana built the fire, and Tala stood watch from a rock, her silhouette sharp against the rising light. When the flames caught, Cole sat with a sigh, rubbing his hands together. "Ain't much of a talker, are ya?" he said toward Tala. "I talk when it matters." "And when does it matter?" She turned her head, her dark hair catching the wind. "When someone's listening?" Ayana smiled softly from across the fire. "She doesn't mean to be hard. It's how she keeps from breaking." Cole looked between them. "Breaking from what?" Ayana's voice dropped. "The same thing that broke our tribe." The air changed. Even the wind seemed to hush. Cole leaned forward, the firelight catching the deep lines in his face. "The soldiers?" Tala nodded once. "You remember that winter? You came through the canyon. You shot one of them before they burned our huts. That man was our brother you saved." Cole blinked, realization dawning. He was just a kid. "Yes," Tala said, her eyes distant. "He still is. In spirit." Cole froze. "What do you mean, in spirit?" Ayana looked down, her fingers twisting in her lap. "He never left the canyon. He died 2 nights later. But his spirit walks with the wolves. Father said the debt was bound to the stars, and now you walk the road he never could." Cole's throat tightened. "I didn't know." Tala's voice softened just a little. "You couldn't have. But the desert remembers what men forget." The fire cracked loud, scattering sparks into the wind. Cole stared into the flames, his chest heavy with something he hadn't felt in years, guilt that cut deeper than any bullet. Ayana reached across the fire, her hand hovering near his. "We don't come to haunt you, cowboy. We come to guide you. There's a place you must see, where debts are burned clean." Cole lifted his eyes. "And if I refuse?" Tala looked toward the horizon. "Then the desert will take what the chief cannot." The next morning, the sky opened up like fire, gold and crimson sweeping across the dunes. The 3 rode on foot into the unknown, their shadows stretching long and thin. And though Cole didn't say a word, he felt it deep in his bones.